this here. So we have negative sine of the inside times the derivative of the inside, which is what?
2x.
Yeah.
2y prime.
Ah, yeah, I didn't write that, did I? 2y prime, good. Okay, so here's, now the next part, what do you have to use on this? What rule?
Product rule.
Product rule. What's the derivative of x? 1 times the second plus the first times the derivative of the second, which is going to be e to the y squared times the derivative of y squared. What is the derivative of y squared?
2y prime.
Yeah, you got it, equals 0. The derivative of 1 is 0. By far the most common, easy way to mess these up and make your life much more painful is to not do that properly. At this point, what do we need to isolate?
Y prime.
We have a y prime right there, and we have a y prime right there. So we want everything with y prime on one side and everything else on the other. So we need to clean this up a little bit. So this is going to be negative 2x sine of x squared plus 2y minus 2y prime sine of x squared plus 2y plus e to the y squared plus 2y y prime e to the equals 0. So let's keep everything with y prime on this side.
Where's the x?
What did I do? Oh, the x. Yeah, there's an x in there. Sorry. Whoops. So you're going to end up with y prime times 2xy e to the... I'm doing this term first because I want it to be positive. E to the y squared minus 2 sine of, there's the middle term. And what's that going to equal? That's going to equal 2x sine x squared plus 2y minus... Okay, at this point, once we got to here, now it's just algebra. And we like to call that ninja. I remember that from last year. It's just algebra at this point. We're not doing calculus. This is just algebra with a bunch of things that look nasty, but it's just algebra. So now do we have y prime? Yeah. Y prime is going to be equal to 2x sine of plus 2y minus e to the y squared all over 2xy e to the y squared minus 2 sine of x squared plus 2y. And you're done. Please skip lines. Please skip lines. Please skip lines. Please skip lines. What's going on? What is going on? Okay, kids, look. Derivative tangent is what? Secant squared. So you have to use the chain rule here. The derivative tangent is secant squared of the original, but then you have to multiply by the derivative of the inside. What rule do you have to use right here?
Product.
The product rule. So this is the most common mistake. It's not the most devastating. Oh, it's pretty devastating. You have to use the product rule. Derivative of the first times the second plus the first times the derivative of the second. I'm not going to do this out because now it's just algebra. Okay? All you're isolating, I'm not going to do this out. You're isolating the y prime, which is there and right there. You put everything with y prime on one side, you factor, you divide, you're done. I'm not doing it again. It's the same exact process we just did. Does that make doing other ones much easier? Yeah, in this case, you don't need to do that algebra. All you need to do is plug in. And believe me, here's the thing. I can guarantee it is cosine y. What do you have to multiply by? Y prime. And that's going to equal what? 1. So what does y prime equal? Now that's okay, but do we like having y in our derivative?
No.
We'd really like it to be just in terms of x. Okay, so let's do a side. Let's remember something. What is cosine squared y plus sine squared y equal to? 1. So what does cosine squared y equal?
Sine squared.
Do you agree with that?
Yes.
Okay. So, what did we say at the beginning here? What does x equal? It's right there. I just underlined it. What does x equal? So we know that cosine squared y is equal to 1 minus x squared. Do you agree with that? Take a look. You see this right here? You see that, everybody?
So cosine.
I define the function as x equals sine y. We had sine squared y here, so what does that equal? X squared. So what does cosine y equal? The square root of 1 minus
X.
So we can plug it in right there, and what do we end up with? Y prime is equal to 1 over the square root of?
1
1
minus
minus
x squared.
Okay, that's correct. And let's go back to what we were looking at before. What was y equal to?
Sine inverse x.
Sine inverse of x, correct. So what we've just figured out is the derivative of sine inverse of x is equal to 1 over the square root of 1 minus x squared. There it is. So this is something you must memorize. Not this method, not what we just did, but you have to memorize what's in this bubble right here. The derivative of the inverse sine function is 1 over 1 minus x squared. Is that kind of annoying? Yes, but is it totally necessary for you to memorize it?